Jai Hind, dear children. Today we are going to start a new chapter in economics, globalization and the Indian economy. Through this chapter, we are going to study in detail about market and its various phases, and also about consumers and the various new possibilities the consumers is having in the market system. So first of all, we want to know what is a market and what is the importance of market and who is a consumer. Then it will be very easy for you to understand this chapter in detail. So first, what is the meaning of the term market? What is a market? It's a place where there is a regular gathering of people for the purchase and sale of goods and services. We call that place as a market. So once again, what is a market? A place where there is regular gathering of people for the purchase and sale of goods and services. That place we called as a market. Next is, who is a consumer? Who is a consumer? Consumer is a person who purchases goods and services for a personal use. So another important term we want to study related to this chapter is consumer. So who is a consumer? A person who purchases goods and services for personal use. He can be called as a consumer. So as a consumer, we can identify that the nature of products in the market got transformed over the period of time. So here we are going to study in detail how the nature of product got transformed. Here, this is an important statement related to the topic, which is a statement: markets being transformed in recent years. So, we want to have a comparison between the older years and the recent years markets and the goods available in our country. From that, we are going to study in detail about the term globalization. So first of all, how this transformation happened in our country, how we can understand this transformation as a part of the markets. So in the recent years, markets have been transformed in many ways. As consumers, we have now wide choice of goods and services before us. For example, the latest models of digital cameras, mobile phones, and television sets made by the leading manufacturers of the world are within our reach, isn't it? We are having the latest all mobile phones, cameras and televisions. It's within our reach. At the same time, every season new models of automobiles can be seen on Indian roads. But earlier, what is the situation? Only ambassadors and Fiat, these two types of cars were the only cars on Indian roads. Today, Indians are buying cars produced by nearly all the top companies in the world, isn't it? So, a similar explosion of brands can be seen for many other goods, from agriculture equipments to heavy vehicles, from processed fruit juices to shirts and various electronic goods. This is relatively a recent phenomenon. So because of this change in our country, we can say that markets have been transformed. Markets have been changed a lot because recently we are getting almost modern things produced in different parts of our country. So all this transformation happened in markets only because of a famous process, that is globalization. So through this chapter, we want to study a new term, globalization, and also about the Indian economy, how this globalization having its impact on the Indian economy. This chapter helps us to understand in detail about the intermingling connection between globalization and Indian economy, and also about the impact of globalization on Indian economy. So next topic we want to study related to this chapter is production across countries. how our country's production reach all around the world. Likewise, how various foreign goods reach to our country also. So, until the middle of the 20th century, there is no clear idea about globalization, liberalization, or about the great transformation in our Indian markets and economy. All these changes happen in India, not only in India, but also all around the world, only because of the coming or the help of MNCs. So, what is the meaning of this term MNC? Multinational companies. Or what is an MNC? An MNC is a company that owns or controls production in more than one nation. So, once again, what is an MNC? An MNC is a company that owns or controls production in more than one nation. For example, Google, Apple, all these are MNC companies. Ford Motors, all that. These are having production and they own factories in more than one nation. That type of companies were known as multinational companies or MNC. So before the coming of this MNC in India, that means in the first half of the 20th century, production was organized within countries. That means production is there in our country, but it is within our country. That means it is not going outside our country. And trade is also there, but which type of trade? Always we are exporting raw materials, our raw materials, for example cotton, to various foreign countries, and we are importing finished goods in our country. That's going on in our country before the coming of these MNCs. But after the coming of these MNCs to our country, it changed a lot. It transformed a lot our country in all ways. So now we want to study in detail about these MNCs, that means multinational companies, how they set up their companies in different countries. What are the criteria used by these MNCs to select a particular country to establish their companies in that countries. And then we want to know about the working process of these MNCs. And after that we want to study another most important idea related to MNC, that is the advantages and disadvantages of these MNCs. So first of all, we want to know what are the criteria elected or used by the MNCs to select a particular country to start their companies. So these multinational corporations or MNCs is a company that owns or controls production in more than one nation. And these MNCs that set up their offices and factories for production in regions where they can get cheap labor and other resources at cheap cost. So one of the most important idea related to MNC is that they selected countries where they are getting cheap labors and best quality resources at cheap cost. They also set up production where it is close to the market, so they can reduce their deposit for transportation facilities. That's why they start their companies where areas which is very close to the markets. They establish production where there is skilled and unskilled laborers available at a low cost. So they want cheap laborers. That means which type of cheap laborers? Both skilled and unskilled cheap laborers. They are in need of these two categories at cheap rates. They set up production where the availability of other factors of production is assured. And at the same time, they want not only resources, all other factors of production, which is very important for them. That means land, labor, then water facilities, electricity, everything, transportation, everything. They want at cheap cost and best quality. They set up production where government policies are favorable to them. Whichever country is giving a lot of, that country's government is giving a lot of importance to these MNCs by helping them, by introducing many new policies and programs in that countries only. These MNCs, they are very favorable to start their companies in those countries. So we already studied what are the factors selected by the MNCs for starting their companies in various countries. So now we want to study the working process of these multinational corporations or MNCs, in which way they are working in a particular country. So, first of all, these MNCs, what they are doing, they set up offices and factories for production in regions where they can get cheap labor and other resources. That is the first step taken by them. This is done so that the cost of production is low and the MNCs can earn greater profit, because the main objective or the main aim of this MNC is to earn profit. So, by selecting a country where we are getting cheap labors and other facilities at low cost, that means in that country they can earn a lot of profit. That is the main objective or aim of these MNC. And MNC is not only selling its finished products globally, but also the goods and services are produced globally. That means they want the best. They want to have the raw materials, the best quality, and they want to sell their products in the best way. In that way only they can earn a lot of profit. That's why they are thinking like that and they are doing like that. The production process is divided into small parts and spread out across the globe. So for that reason, for this reason, that means to earn great profit, to get the best, what they are doing, the production process of these MNCs is divided into small parts and spread out across the globe. So, for example, in your textbook you are having an example for that. Now we are going to study that example, how these MNCs spread out their production process all around the globe, all around the world, to get the best. So these MNCs, if they are dividing the production process into small parts and spread across the globe, what happens is that as a result of doing this, 50 to 60% of cost saving these MNCs are having as a result of this. And these MNCs, they not only invest a huge amount but bring with them the latest technologies for production also. So the coming of these MNCs in many countries brought about a tremendous change and development, overall development in that countries. Here we are going to study about an example, how these MNCs they divide their production process and spread across the globe. For example, a large MNC company producing industrial equipments, what they do, they design its products in research centers in the United States. Then after that, they send it to China, because China provides the advantage of being a chief manufacturing location. In China, we are having very cheap cost of manufacturing location. So here, this MNC, they make use of that China. Then after that, ship to Mexico and the Eastern Europe, where the products are assembled, because at the same time this Mexico and Eastern Europe are also closeness to the market. So it is also another benefit for just shipping these items to Mexico and Eastern Europe. After that, what they do, they make use of India, because in India we are having highly skilled engineers who can understand the technical aspects of production. And India is also having educated English speaking youth, which they can provide customer care services. So they make use of India also. So as a result of making use of all these countries, that means making use of USA, China, Mexico, Eastern Europe and India, they can bring the best quality product and they can sell it and they can earn a lot of profit as a result of this. Because of that reason only, they are spreading out production across the borders to the multinational companies can be truly immense, because they are giving a lot of importance of spreading out their productions globally. In this topic, we want to study how the MNCs interlinking their production across countries. What were the steps taken by MNCs to interlink their production across countries? So we already studied that the factors or the what are the main features which the MNCs are very important to set up their factories or companies, and about the working process also. So whichever areas they are getting the best at cheap cost, in that areas these MNCs they are starting their companies. And when they decided to start their companies, these MNCs what they're doing, they investing money in that country. That investment is known as a foreign investment. So we already know that what is the meaning of the term investment, isn't it? What is investment? The money that is spent to buy assets such as land, building, machines, and other equipments is called a investment, isn't it? So the money that we are spending to buy land, buildings, machines, or any other equipments we called as investment. So here we are studying another term, that is foreign investment. So this type of investment done by the MNCs, we call it as a foreign investment. So here we want to study which were the three steps or three ways adopted by the MNCs to just have their foreign investment in a particular country. The three ways through which the MNCs expand their production in various countries. The first one is the MNCs set up production jointly with some of the local companies of the countries. In that way, they earn profit. So, what is the first way adopted by these MNCs? Setting up production jointly with some of the local companies of those countries which they are selecting. The second common route of this MNC investment is to buy local companies and then expand production. So the second most common route of this MNC investment is to buy up local companies and then expand production. And the third one is the large MNCs in developed countries place orders for production with small producers. The products are then sold by MNCs under their own brand names to the customers. That is a third way taken by MNCs to earn profit. So these were the three main ways taken by MNC to earn profit in whichever countries they are selecting. First one is they started a joint production with some of the local companies. The second common way is they just buy up local companies and then expand production. The third way, which is the third way, in developed countries, these large MNCs in developed countries, they place orders for production with small producers. Then the products are then sold by the MNCs under their own brand names to the customers. So these three ways we are going to study in detail with the help of three examples from your textbook itself. So the first way, which is the first way, these MNCs they set up production jointly with some of the local companies of these countries. The example for that we are going to study next. An example for the first way that MNC taken is setting up production jointly with some of the local companies of those countries that they are electing or selecting. So an example for that was the Ford Motors. Ford Motors was an American company, is one of the world's largest automobile manufacturers with production spread over 26 countries of the world. As it is having production over 26 countries of the world, it is this Ford Motors is considered as an MNC, that means a multinational corporation or a multinational company. These Ford Motors, what happened is that they came to India in 1995 and spent around 1,700 crores to set up a large plant near Chennai. So the Ford Motors, American manufacturing company, automobile manufacturing company, they came to India in 1995 and spent around 1,700 crores to set up a large plant near Chennai. This was done by MNC. That means there's Ford Motors in collaboration with Mahindra and Mahindra, a major Indian manufacturer of jeeps and trucks. So, this first way, that means MNC had taken, here the MNC is Ford Motors. What the first way they are taking, they are starting their production jointly with the local company. So here the local company is Mahindra and Mahindra. So they started a collaboration with Mahindra and Mahindra. And by the year 2014, Ford Motors was selling 77,000 cars in the Indian market. At the same time, they are selling another 77,000 cars to some of the foreign countries like Saudi, South Africa, Mexico, and Brazil. So, here, in what way this MNC is earning profit? In what way the Ford Motors, that company, is earning profit? What is their aim? To start, just have a collaboration with this Mahindra and Mahindra. The cost of labor and other resources is cheap in India. There are large number of skilled and unskilled laborers available at low wages. That also this Ford Motors they came to understand. A number of local manufacturers in India supply auto parts to Ford Motors, which has tremendous power to determine price, quality, delivery, and labor conditions. So once again, there is a large number of local manufacturers in India supply auto parts to this Ford Motors, which has tremendous power to determine price, quality, delivery, and labor conditions. At the same time, the company wants to develop India as a base for manufacturing car components because India and its neighbors like China has a large number of prospective buyers. They have great purchasing power also. So keeping in mind all these things together, this Ford Motors and MNC company, they start their production jointly with the Mahindra and Mahindra, a local company in India, to earn profit. Only the aim is to earn profit. The second common way or common route for the multinational companies to invest in a particular country is the way in which they buy the local companies and then to expand production. MNCs with huge wealth can quite easily do so also. So here we are going to study an example related to this second way. That is an example of Cargill Foods. Cargill Foods is a very large American MNC. It has brought over small Indian companies such as Parak Foods. These Parak Foods had built a large marketing network in various parts of India where its brand was well reputed also. This Parak Foods brand was well reputed all over India. Parak Food had 4 oil refineries whose control has now shifted to Cargill. That means Parak Food 4 oil refineries were also under the control of this Cargill MNC. Cargill is now the largest producer of edible oil in India with a capacity to make 5 million pouches daily. So this is a condition of this Cargill, and what that happened to this Parak also. That means the Parak Food, they lost all the importance and that company were under the control of this Cargill, and Cargill, that MNC company, and their 4 refineries also under the control of this MNC. And now the Cargill MNC company is the largest producer of edible oil in India with a capacity to make 5 million pouches daily. So many of the top MNC have wealth exceeding the entire budget of the developing country governments. With such enormous wealth, there is huge power and influence of these MNCs. So this is a second way the MNC, they are interlinking with the production with other countries to earn great profit. The third way in which the MNC linking production across countries is that the large MNCs in developed countries, they place orders for production with small producers. So the large MNCs in developed countries, what they do, they place orders for production with small producers. For example, garments making, footwear making, sport items, all that. For example, in Ludhiana, the women, they are making footballs for some large MNC companies, where production is carried out by a large number of small producers around the world. So they are just giving these orders to these small producers, and they are making the best quality products, and they are just supplying all these to these large MNCs. The products, after supplying to the MNCs, what they are doing, they sell these under their own brand names to the customers. These MNCs, they sell these products produced by the small producers under their own brand names to the customers. And these large MNCs have tremendous power to determine the price, quality, delivery, and labor condition for these distinct producers. And so once again, these large MNCs, they have tremendous power to determine the price, quality, delivery, and labor conditions for these distinct producers. So these three are the various ways through which the MNCs starting their interlinked production with different countries around the world. Thus, from all this, we can understand that there are a variety of ways in which the MNCs are spreading their production and interacting with local producers in various countries across the globe. By setting up partnership with local companies, by using the local companies for supplies, by closely competing with local companies or buying them up. These are the various steps adopted by the MNCs to earn profit. MNCs are exerting a strong influence on production at these distant locations with their own ideas. So another topic related to this chapter is foreign trade and integration of markets. So from very long time onwards, there is a great history of foreign trade in our country, and it is a main channel connecting various countries also, because these trade routes connected India with many countries in the world, and it was a trading interest which attracted various trading companies such as East India Company towards India. So the foreign trade, it is having that much of importance from our early or ancient time onwards, isn't it? So first we want to know what is the meaning of this term foreign trade, or what is the importance of foreign trade. So what is foreign trade? It is a trade that creates an opportunity for the producers to reach beyond their domestic market. What is the domestic markets? Markets of their own countries are known as domestic markets. So this foreign trade, it creates an opportunity for the producers to just carry on with their products to many other foreign countries also. This is known as a foreign trade. Another term we want to study related to this topic is integration of markets or market integration. What is the meaning of this idea? Market integration. It occurs when prices among different locations or related goods follow similar pattern over a long period of time. It is known as market integration. So once again, what is market integration, or how this market integration occurs? It occurs when prices among different locations or related goods follow similar pattern over a long period of time. So here we want to know, we want to study, or we want to understand how the foreign trade help in the integration of markets. Foreign trade is considered as an important component of globalization. How? Or what are the ways the foreign trade is taking to give importance to this globalization process? So, how did this happen? Foreign trade provides opportunity for both producers and buyers to reach beyond markets of their own country, because the producers, they can sell their products not only in their domestic markets but to various other international markets also. At the same time, to the buyers, we are getting a variety of products at cheap rates also. That is the benefit foreign trade is giving to both the producers and the buyers. There is a flow of goods, services, and finance across different countries as a result of this foreign trade. There is a huge competition among producers of various countries. That means the producers, they began to have competition among themselves, because if one country is producing a new type of product, if that product is having a lot of popularity, then the other country, they try to make some other products better than that. That type of competition is going on among the countries as a result of this foreign trade. This brings producers closer to each other. Sometimes the producers of other countries set up joint venture with the local producers also. So some other countries, they just, we already studied, isn't it? The ways which the MNCs, the third way, they just have some contacts or link with the local producers or small producers by giving them some orders for the production, and after just collecting them the finished products from these small producers, these MNCs, what they are doing, they are selling these products by their own brand names. That is also going on well in different countries as a part of this foreign trade. Prices of similar goods in the two markets tend to become equal. So the price level also becomes equal as a result of these advantages of foreign trade. So these are the main things which, or the main advantages which happen all around the world as a result of this foreign trade. As the foreign trade gives the producers an access to multiple markets, that means domestic markets as well as international markets, and the cost of production can be reduced as a result of this importance or advantages of foreign trade. At the same time, to the consumers, that means to the buyers, we are getting varieties to choose from, something among the producers, and we can have a variety in the price and quality also, because there will be an equality in the price all around the world, and the quality is also very good as a result of these competitions, everything. So as a consumer, with the advantages of foreign trade, we are getting varieties and new types of good products. And now we are going to study an example related to this advantage of given by the foreign trade to the consumers. That is the example of Chinese toys. Now we are going to study an example of the comparison between the Chinese toys and Indian toys. In India, earlier toys were sold by domestic manufacturers, and they sold these toys at high prices also. So when the Chinese manufacturers started exporting toys to India, what happened? Now the buyers in India have the option between the Chinese toys and the Indian toys. Chinese toys became popular in India because of their cheaper price and new designs with varieties of attractive colors also. And as a result of this, what happened that around 70 to 80% of the toy shop have been replaced in India with Chinese toys. And there arose a stiff competition between the Chinese toys and Indian toys in India. And as a result of this competition, the Chinese toys proved better and expanded business also. And the Indian toys, what happened to the Indian toys? They face many losses as the toys are selling much less, and most of the Indian toy shops began to be closed also. So this was the condition when foreign trade began to be expanded in many countries in the world. Their domestic markets became very dull, and their domestic products also, as its rate is very high, they are not having that much of varieties. They are losing their importance in the market among the buyers or the consumers. So next topic we want to study related to this chapter is what is globalization. So this word itself is having a lot of importance related to this chapter, isn't it? So we want to know what is the meaning of this word globalization. What is its importance? So, what is globalization? It is a rapid integration and interconnection between countries through foreign trade and foreign investment by MNCs. So, once again, what is globalization? It is the rapid integration and interconnection between countries through foreign trade and foreign investment by MNC. That means a process carried on by MNCs with the help of foreign trade and foreign investment. That process is known as a globalization. In this globalization process, we become economically interdependent at international level. So, through this globalization process, we become economically interdependent at an international level. Producers from outside the country can produce and sell goods and services in India as a result of this globalization process. And we can also produce goods and services and sell them in other countries also. The laborers can also move from one country to another as a part of this globalization process. So many advantages are there as a result of this globalization. We can produce our products, finished products, and we can sell it in any foreign countries. And at the same time, many foreign countries, they can just sell their products in our countries also. So this type of import and export is carried on very easily through this globalization process. At the same time, globalization brings greater foreign investment and greater foreign trade through the MNCs. So as a result of this globalization, we are having a great amount of quantities of foreign investment and foreign trade in our country. The result of this greater foreign investment and greater foreign trade has been greater integration of production and market across countries. So if any country is having this foreign investment and foreign trade in a greater level with the help of this MNCs, in that country we are having integration of markets and productions also. So all these create income and employment opportunities in the economy. So with the help of this globalization and this foreign trade and foreign investment, with the help of these MNCs, we are having that they help to create good economic and income and employment opportunities in our country. So at the same time, as a result of globalization, more and more goods and services, investment and technology are moving between countries, isn't it? As a result of globalization, more types of goods and services is producing in our country, because each and every country they are having competition among themselves to produce the best and to sell and earn profit. So they are just creating the best among themselves, and they are having new investments and new technologies. They introduce new technologies also. Most regions of the world are in closer contact with each other than a few decades back. As a result of this globalization process, we are having close contact with many foreign countries, or all around the world. We are having contact with all the countries with the help of this globalization process. Besides these, people usually move from one country to another in search of better income, better jobs, or better education with the help of this globalization process. As consumers also, people have greater choice for products. They now enjoy improved quality and lower price for several products, and hence higher standard of living, isn't it? So as a citizen, as a people of various countries, with the help of this globalization, it helps us to move from one country to another in search of better income, better jobs, or better education. That means the migration process carrying on very easily through this globalization. And as a consumer also, it helps us a lot, because as a consumer, a person who is buying things, as a consumer, this globalization is giving us a greater choice of products, and we enjoyed improved quality of goods at low price, and it increases our standard of living also. As a result of all this, globalization has created new opportunities for countries for providing services, particularly those including IT. Isn't it? Globalization gives a lot of opportunities, especially to the information technology areas. So, these are the main advantages or merits of the globalization in the economy. Next, we want to study what is the importance of the multinational corporations or multinational companies, MNCs, in the globalization process, because the globalization process is carried on very smoothly with the help of these MNCs only, isn't it? So, we want to know or we want to understand what are the main reasons why these MNCs are having an important role in the globalization process. So, MNC have helped in globalization in many ways. The first way is that they are spreading their production to other countries where labor and other resources are easily available. In this way, they bring foreign investment in these countries, isn't it? So the MNCs, they are searching some countries where they are getting cheap labors and resources, good quality resources at cheap cost. In those countries, what these MNCs are doing, they are investing their money in those countries as foreign investment. In that way, these MNCs, they are helping these countries to have an overall development for them. Another one, a large part of the foreign trade is also controlled by this MNC. Activities of most MNC involve substantial trade in goods and services. The result of greater foreign investment and greater foreign trade has been greater integration of production and markets across countries. So, what is another importance of this MNCs? Another important one of the main importance of this MNC in the globalization is that the foreign trade is carried on with or controlled by the MNC, and the activities of these MNCs involve various things like the substantial trade in goods and services. The result of all this is the greater foreign investment and foreign trade, and it leads to the integration of production and markets also. So this MNCs, with the help of globalization, they brought about an overall development in most of the countries in the world. Then they buy up local companies and then expand production. In that way also, they are helping most of the local companies. Then they set up production jointly with some of the local companies, and they use local companies for supplies. They bring new and advanced technologies with them. So these MNCs, they are helping the countries by investing their foreign investment in those countries, and through this globalization process, with the help of foreign trade and foreign investment, they are helping a lot integration of our markets and integration of trade, everything. And at the same time, they help the local companies by giving them support, by buying them, and by giving some contract works to these local producers, all that. So it is the MNC, it is only with the help of this MNC that the globalization is process is carried on very smoothly all in our world. And through this globalization, each and every country in the world is having a great development in their economic status. Just have a quick recall of what we studied in this video. So first we studied about the global, what is the meaning of globalization and Indian economy, and how the markets have been transformed in the recent years, because in the early period we are not having that much of development in the markets with varieties of products, all that, but recently we are having large varieties of products in low cost. So why this transformation happen in the market? Then we studied about the MNC, what is an MNC and what is the importance of an MNC, and why in which criteria the MNCs they are setting up their companies in different countries, and the working process of this MNC. So with the help of one example, we studied about the working process of the MNCs. Then we studied about the interlinking production across countries. Then the investment and the difference between investment and foreign investment, that we studied in this area. At the same time, we studied about the three ways adopted by the MNC to have an interlinking production across countries. And we studied about the three examples related to the three ways in which these MNCs, they are having connection with different countries for production. Then the next topic, we studied about foreign trade and integration of markets. We studied what is the meaning of this term foreign trade and what is the meaning of this integration of markets. Then we studied about how this foreign trade, importance of foreign trade, and how the foreign trade help in the overall development of the economy with the help of the example of Chinese toys, comparison between Chinese toys and Indian toys. Then we studied what is globalization, what is the meaning of this term globalization, what is its advantages or importance, and how the foreign trade is having an important role in the globalization process, how the foreign trade helped the globalization process to have an overall development in each and every countries in the world. Dear children, watch the video very carefully, copy down all the important points and read your textbook 3 or 4 times. Okay? Thank you.